Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919 True Sports coming to you with another segment. I'm gonna get right into it. This is about seven players, women's players that I think need a little bit more national attention, or some players that you can kind of check in on yourself, and you'll be surprised at how good some of them are and the success that they are having on the college level. Some of them are from big conferences, some of them are from mid-major conferences, and some of them are from a lot smaller conferences. So I'm gonna get right into it. Don't want to waste too much of your time. I'm gonna start off coming from the ACC, playing for the University of Notre Dame. Her name is Hannah. I don't want to mispronounce her last name. Hidalgo. She's a freshman. She's averaging about 24.5 points a game. She's staying at 5'6", and she averages about 6.3 rebounds and 5.4 assists. Um, she's leading a very good Notre Dame team. Like I said, a freshman. Seen her play in person a couple of times. She had 5 30-point games, 16 20-point games. She put up 34 in the University of UConn. That was a nationally televised game. She had 130 back-to-back games. She did that one time, and she took over. And the funny part about this is that she took over for another top point guard, Olivia Miles. Olivia Miles was very, very good. Well established in the ACC, but she got hurt. She tore her knee or something up, so she's been out. And they recruited and got another top point guard. So I don't know what's going to happen when she comes back. I don't know if they're going to play together, if one to transfer or what will happen. But she's third in the nation in scoring at, like I said, 24.5, basically 25 points a game. She leads the ACC in scoring as a freshman. She's second in the conference in assists. She's number one in the conference in steals. And like I said, she's a tremendous talent. Leads her team, not one of those selfish players. She gets her points when it's time to get them. She lets everybody else get involved, and she's very impressed. I think you need to look her up. You'll be surprised and impressed by her. And I think she was also a McDonald's All-American. All right, number two, coming from the ACC again, she plays from the University of Virginia, Kamora Johnson. As I said, another freshman averaging about 15 points a game. She stands at 5'7", averaging about 4 rebounds and 5 assists a game. She had one 30-point game this season. She had 9 20-point games this season. She put up 35 points on FSU in the ACC. And she also had a stretch where she scored 20 points in 3 straight games in a row, which shows you what type of leader she can be, whether it's through assists or through points, which was very impressive. But she's third in the ACC in assists behind Hannah, who I just talked about, ahead of her from Notre Dame. She leads her team in points, assists, and steals, which is a tremendous task coming to the ACC. I don't know if you follow women's basketball in the ACC like I do, but it's very tough. It's a tough conference year in and year out for the most part. And she's come right in and leading her team. These top two freshmen are leading their teams in a lot of categories already. Their first year, in the conference. I'm gonna stick with ACC again. Number three, her name is Tiana Latson. She's a sophomore. Hope I'm not mispronouncing her name, but I talked about her before. She was a freshman last year and set all types of records. I believe she was freshman of the year in the ACC. But if you look up her high school career, tremendous high school career, put up a lot of big numbers. But she's averaging about 20 points a game. She stands 5'8". She's averaging about 4 rebounds a game and 4 assists a game. She's had 6 30-point games, 5 20-point games. She put up 35 points against the University of Florida, which is an in-state rivalry. Florida's coming from the SEC, and then she had a stretch where she scored 30 points in 3 straight games, which is hard to do, especially on the college level, because the college level is a lot more team ball than it is in the pros, of course. But she's fourth in the ACC in scoring. She leads her team in points, assists, and steals. And she's another tremendous talent. She has a year under her belt. She's coming off of a knee injury, but she's still keeping up her point production and everything else that it takes to win. I've seen her play a couple of times. Just a great talent. And that's why I'm giving these girls some of this attention. Moving on, we're going to the MEAC conference. I'm sure some of you all are not familiar with the MEAC conference, but that's where the University of Howard plays, and I go to a lot of Howard games. My daughter goes to Howard, so I check out a lot of their games in person. I've been watching her play for the last 4 years. She tore her ACL last year, but before then, I'm talking about her because I want some attention naturally on some of the smaller players as far as name is concerned. But she's averaging about 16 points a game. She had 2 30-point games, 11 20-point games. She put up 30 against American University, which is, of course, a lot bigger than Howard. as far as sports wise. She put up 30 against them. That was a big game for her. She had a stretch where she scored 20 or more points in 3 straight games in a row. She was fourth in her conference in scoring. She leads her teams in points, assists, and steals, and she's another tremendous talent. Her name is Destiny Howell, if I didn't say her name. And the sad part is they really needed her. Howard suffered this year because they didn't have her. She was also part of the team that made the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago from Howard. So her absence is really excessive. If you look at Howard now, they don't have the same record they've been having the last couple of years, and that's because she's out. She tore her ACL. I talked to her personally and found out what happened to her because I was going to the games and not understanding why she wasn't playing. Then after I went to about 4 or 5 games, I was like, well, she just can't be just an injury here and there. Something must be really wrong. So when I finally got a chance to get close to her, I asked her, and she told me she tore her ACL. So let's move down to the American Conference. My East Carolina Pirates, I'm going to always try to promote my school, as you all know if you follow me at all. Her name is Diana McNeil. She's averaging about 20 points a game. I'm going to do a spotlight on her in another segment. She's had 40 30-point games, 7 20-point games. She put up 35 against SMU University. She had a stretch where she scored 11 out of 12 games. She led her team in scoring back to back, night in and night out, which of course is a tremendous feat. She's second in the conference in scoring, and she's first in steals. She leads her team, the East Carolina Pirates, in points, assists, and steals. And she's another tremendous talent. She's a senior. I'm not sure if she has another extra year of eligibility. I'm not sure. But she's also transferred from Clemson. So she's been to East Carolina the last 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. So she transferred in, and I'm going to do a spotlight on her a little bit later. I think she's a WNBA talent. She'll be one of only 2 that I could find. I found only one other player that played in the WNBA from East Carolina. And it looks like she has the opportunity to be, the next one up with the talent that she has. If you watch her in person, you can easily tell who she is, but just by how she plays. She wears number 22 as well. And going back to the ACC, this is a person that you will know her name. But I'm going to talk about her because, one, I'm a big, not just East Carolina fan. I also grew up loving the University of North Carolina, and that's including the women's basketball. I liked them all the way back when they won the NCAA tournament. So even as a kid, I liked watching them. Deja Kelly, she's everybody knows her, but she's averaging 17 points a game. She hasn't had any 30-point games, but she's had 8 20-point games. She put up 26 against number 17 ranked Virginia Tech, and everybody knows that Virginia Tech is tough. She had a stretch where she led her team in scoring for like 9 straight games, back to back, night in and night out. She leads her teams in points, but Alisa Usby leads in everything else. You have to look her name up. She's another good talent. I've watched her the last 3 years a lot of games. This past year I got to watch a lot of games. Luckily, right, because I was in North Carolina right now, so I was able to watch her, and I love watching her because she is so unselfish. You can tell she goes above and beyond to make sure everybody gets involved. If you watch her play, you never gets that sense of entitlement that she has. Being a 3-year starter, she started most of her career, and she, even if somebody else is going, got going, she'll make sure they get the ball. She won't try to budge in and and take over. That's one of the reasons I like watching her. That's one of the things I like about women's basketball. They don't take 50 shots to score 20 points. They don't play like that, and she doesn't play like that. So her 17 points that she gets, her true 17 points, she's never pushing for it. And I've watched plenty of her games in person and on television, and she's like that all the time. Like they just beat NC State at in-state rivalry. NC State is ranked. I think she had only 9 points. But people around her had career games, and she was able to step back and let that happen. So you have to commend her on that. And then we're going to go to the Pac-12, the Colorado Buffs. I've talked about this young lady, Jalen Sherritt. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing her name. She's a person that you need to watch. She's averaging 13 points a game. She's averaging about 4.7 assists, basically 5 assists a game. She's had one 30-point game or one 20-point game. She's put up 34 against the number 12th ranked Utah. She had one game where she had 13 assists. She's 5th in the nation in assists and 4th in the nation in steals. She has her team ranked. They were 8th, but now they are ranked 11th in the nation. They're 3rd in the conference, a very tough conference. She's a very good person, a good player, great athlete, very, very explosive. They normally play off of her. And if you watch them, you know who she is. She is that starting point guard, but you can tell by her energy. You can tell by her passion for the game and how hard she plays and her athleticism, how good she is and how much the team feeds off of her. I believe I'm not good at saying who's pro and who's not, but I can definitely see her playing on the next level in the WNBA. I don't know any WNBA team and the NBA team who can't use a fast, smart, athletic point guard who could score a lot more, but likes to get the team involved. That's just how she plays. I've watched her play multiple games. Most of them are on television. If they make the NCAA tournament, of course, I'm going to go to that game if they get into my region. But she's very good and very impressive. You need to check her out from the Colorado Buffs. They have a very good team. They have a very good coach. They have good players on that team. They have a good post player presence as well. So you need to check them out. But they're very impressive. So that's been my list of a couple of girls. For I told you all my channel be about touching in and out of women's basketball because I truly watch it, and when I get a chance I go to the games and I'm gonna do a segment on that and just show the appreciation for them. They're good athletes too. They go hard. They put in just as much work as the guys. They care just like the guys. Their games are competitive like the guys, and actually Sherrod is one of those. If you watch a couple of her games, she will with lack of a better word, she can get very street on the court, and I love it, to be honest with you. So this is a segment some players need to look up and give them a little bit more attention. Tremendous players that may not be getting a national attention, and we want to look in and give them a little attention. So you all please do that. It's been Hunt 919, Truth to Sports. Ride with me.